this is Kim with Mom's Creative Moments. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to do another Disney layout. This layout is similar in some ways to the layout we did a few videos back, where I recreated, or did my best to recreate, the top part of the carousel from Fantasyland. This is going to be somewhat like that, but a little bit different, so hopefully it will give you some additional ideas for how you can do those kinds of sort of swags across the top of your pages. And we're going to use some Fast to Fab today too, so it should be fun. Let's check out my workspace and get started. Alright, so this is my workspace for today. So you might recognize this page that you're looking at. This is the right side of the layout that we did just the other day. Today we are going to do some more paper piecing, but this should be fairly simple. I don't expect there to be a lot of issues with what we're going to do today. We're going to do some cutting, and we're going to do a little bit of corner rounding and things like that, but this should be fairly straightforward. So let me show you what I have on my table. The Saturday before this was our third day at Disney, we took the kids to dinner, kind of a late lunch. It was a late lunch, it wasn't dinner, at Carnation. Well, Carnation used to be, back in my day when I went, Carnation was not this sort of little hole-in-the-wall type of restaurant, but it was like a huge patio that had kind of walk-up windows, and then a lot of seating that was outside. And maybe I'm just remembering it wrong, but I thought that was Carnation. Anyway, they don't have that anymore. They've gotten rid of that whole area. So, and I don't know when it went away, because I have not been a frequent flyer to Disney, so I don't have any idea. But this guy I do remember, and it probably wasn't the same person, but always had this fantastic, I mean phenomenal piano player, like ragtime piano player, that would sit out kind of in the area where you could sit and eat. And he would play, and literally he could play anything. He was amazing. And maybe it was just my impressionable mind, because I learned to play the piano when I was 8, and I'm not, a phenomenal piano player, but I do enjoy it, and so he just always impressed me so much. So anyway, we took the kids here for lunch, and kind of their theme is this red and white kind of old-time cosmopolitan type atmosphere, with the stained glass and the fringed lamps and that kind of thing. And this awning that is rather unique, and a little bit similar to the one we did for the carousel the other day. But this one we're going to change up and make a little bit more jazzy. So let me show you what we're going to do and tell you what I have supply-wise on my table. So I have 2 sheets that are going to be our base sheets, and these are taken from the Adventure Parks collection that just came out this year. And these are what we call Fast to Fab papers. Now, they're very similar to Fast to Fab pages in that they are pre-printed to look like you've already done some of the work. And so you'll notice that these papers already have a border printed on one of the edges, which is awesome and cool, and definitely a time saver. We're not going to use the back. We're going to use this side with the cool border that's already printed. But these are basically going to be just on the bottom, so that we have a little bit of an extra something across them. I have a remnant of white cardstock. This can be any color cardstock, but I'm going to use white, and because I have a lot of white cardstock, just scraps. Then I also have some Firecracker red Firecracker red, I think that's what it's called, shimmer paper, and some white shimmer paper. And then I have this sheet, and this sheet is not a CM paper. This is from EchoPark, and it's called, or it's part of their Wish Upon a Star 2 collection. And it just has lots of foodstuffs all over it, foodstuffs that you would find in an amusement park. And we didn't really do a lot of spending time looking for food while we were there. We did have the Dole Whip, which you'll see represented here, and you know, some other favorite snacks here and there. But for some reason, this trip just really wasn't about the cool food. And there is some really cool food at Disneyland. So I decided I would incorporate this into the layout for today, so that we could use this because it's super cute paper, and because this is a layout kind of about our lunch, although there's no food pictures, but you know, that kind of thing. Okay, so I'm going to grab my trimmer. Here it is. So we're going to take this remnant, this cardstock remnant, and I'm just going to trim off the decorative border because I really don't need that that wave in there, and I don't know if it will interfere. So I'm just going to go ahead and take it off, straighten that edge. All right, now I'm going to just use this piece. This piece is, just for your own information, is 3 1/4 inches by 12 inches. It's really not critical how wide this is. As long as it is roughly 3 inches, I think you're going to be just fine. Because we are going to use this to create 2 borders, but we're not going to separate them until the end. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope that this kind of works, because this is the first time that I'm doing this. So it works in my head. Let's see if it works on paper. Okay, so we are going to use our shimmer paper and our snack paper, and we are going to make pieces that are 3/4 of an inch wide by 12. Okay, so 3/4 by 12. We're going to just make a bunch of these. I'm going to make 4 of each one of these, so that we have a total of 12. 4 red pieces. We're going to do 4 white shimmer pieces. All 3/4 of an inch. At first I was thinking maybe I would try to vary the sizes of these and do the red and the white a certain size, and then do the snacks a different size, but my brain cannot put that together, so I'm just gonna make them all the same. It'll be all right. In the end, I'm certain it will be all right. All right, we're gonna do 4 pieces of this that are 3/4 wide, and hopefully that is gonna work. And you guys will get to see if it works before you try it, because you're watching to see how it works, right? So, all right, so we've got our 4 snack pieces. Now let's do some additional thoughts here. You can see in this photo right here that the red and the white vary in lengths. They're not all the same. In fact, you've got 2 long red ones and 2 short white ones. And I think that's kind of the way this works. The white is all the same, but the red are different lengths. And these are going to kind of go in between all of that. So I think what we'll do is the short red pieces are going to be the Firecracker shimmer, And the longer red pieces will be the snack paper. That way we'll have a little bit more opportunity to see the fun little snack paper. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I want to do is I want to start with, I think we'll start with the snack paper. So let's cut these in half. And then we may need to cut them in half again just because these are directional, which adds to our fun. Okay, so we're going to put these out here to my magic little strip and my little number 6 that's out there. If you don't have one of those already added to your trimmer, then just put your arm, move the arm out and cut your pieces to 6 inches. All right, so we've got those. Then I'm going to, let's actually switch the red and the white. So we're going to, I'm going to cut all of the red pieces. We've got these at 6 inches. I'm going to cut all of the red pieces to 5. Am I thinking that correctly? Yeah, let's cut the red pieces to 5 and the white pieces to 4.5. Okay, so all the red pieces we're going to cut to 5 inches long. And just save that little extra piece. So I'm going to stack all my red pieces. Scoop them in here. Line them up at the 5-inch mark. And go ahead and cut those. And cut these. Little pieces can go over there. All right, then I'm going to cut, what did we say? I said 4.5 for the white, right? This is where I have to think about it. 6 inches for the snack paper, 5 inches for the red firecracker paper, 4 inches for the white paper, because we want it to go up a half an inch. No, we only want it to go 1/4 of an inch. Okay, now I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to line these up all the way along my grid. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just lightly adhere my cardstock to my desktop. Okay, so my mat that I have on my desk, I'm actually sticking this down so that it doesn't move, so I can use the grid that. Okay, this is future me coming back to give you a tip. Let me just help you know something that I learned as I did this layout. You need you need the Creative Memories corner rounder, the one that cuts both directions, rounded and indented. And let me show you how to cut these corners so that you can do it before you layer your strips onto your base, so that they turn out right and you don't have the issues that I ended up with. Okay, so your snack pieces are going to be rounded the traditional way. So you're going to insert your strip just so that the edge of the bottom of the strip is right at the cutting edge of the rounder, and you're going to center it between. I'm not doing this the way I was doing it, so let me just fix it. You're going to center it so that your curve is gradual, okay? And I did that by trying to center it between the logo here at the top. Okay, so that I had something I could look at to make sure that it was going to come out properly. Can you see that? So you need to round both sides of each strip before you mount them onto your base. And you need to round each side of the snack sheets the traditional way, each of your red pieces the traditional way, right, on both sides. Okay, and then the white pieces you're going to do, you want to poke this in until you see it, and you can see it through there we go. You can see it come through the top. You see that's hard because it's a white sheet. There you go. Then you bring it back so that each of the corners of the strip are right on the cutting edge and centered the best that you can. Okay, so just like that. So let's do that one more time so you can see it. Okay, poke it all the way through, then bring it back, center it, and put the corners of your strip right at the cutting edge. And voila, okay? And then that's the way that you will have them curved when they're on your border. And you'll be much happier that you did it now versus once they're attached, like I had to. All right, and these pieces actually, I need to cut in half again. I'll show you why. So I'm going to grab my trimmer. If you're using, for this part, if you're using a paper that's not directional, then this is much easier. But because mine is directional, I have to split them in half down to 3-inch pieces. We're going to take my repositionable adhesive. I'm going to take one of these. I'm going to, so mine is 3 1/4 inches, so that means 1 5/8 is going to be the middle. So I'm going to have one of my pieces facing this way. I'm going to have the other one facing this way, so that when I cut it in half down the middle, all of my food, all my snack pieces can be read, like the words are going the right direction. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay, so then I'm going to take my red and I'm going to put my adhesive right down the center and leave gaps on the edges. Okay, this I'm going to center. So if you start with a 3-inch piece here, it'll make it much easier to center each of these pieces, because 1 1/2 inches is your halfway mark. I didn't do myself any favors, so I apologize if you are following me. You might want to go back and just trim this base page to 3 inches, because it will make placing these papers a lot easier. So I'm going to do a white, red, white shimmer, and we're going to do another red, I want to get this right so that I'm not feeling like I've got to redo it, because that's not going to be any fun for anybody. All right, and I'm gonna need my zero centering ruler to come in here at my halfway mark. All right, so just make sure that you're adhering this to the center of your paper. If you get one side right, you'll get the other side right. All right, there we go. Okay, now I'm going to grab my multi-purpose tool and pull this up. We'll rub off the repositionable tape or adhesive from my page here, or my work spot. Those are just going to be extra. Now I'm going to grab my corner rounder. As you can see in this photograph, the corners of each of these pieces are rounded, and the corners of the white ones are actually backwards, the backwards round. So it might have helped if I had done this ahead of time, but I'm going to try to just pull up each of these edges a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to take our awning and we need to separate it so that we can go ahead and put it on two different pages. First thing All right, I have to apologize, but I had a little bit of a technical difficulty, and so basically what happened is the amount of memory on the memory card I was saving on ran out because I grabbed the wrong one, and I was using one that was smaller than I normally use, so it didn't have as much space on it. And anyway, I got to the end of this layout, but you guys got cut off right before I cut this in half. So I am backing up just a little bit to catch you up. And I'm so sorry. I hate it when this happens, and I really do try hard to keep it from happening, but this time it could not be avoided. So let me just explain. We got this far in our awning, and we did our punching using our corner rounder, both sides of our corner rounder, and curving these edges right here. Okay. And then what I did was I took the piece that all of these strips were adhered to, and I added it to my trimmer, and I cut straight down the middle, right where those places were that these two went together. Remember how we added these two so that they were facing the opposite ways? So I cut it right down the middle. Now when I did that, there were a couple of teeny itty bitty tiny pieces where maybe when I placed these together they weren't exactly right, but because my base is white, the cardstock I adhered all these strips to is white, and the background of these treat or snack strips is white, it really is not as noticeable. Kind of like with this one where I accidentally trimmed and curved this edge right here, but it's not as noticeable unless you're really looking for it because the background is white on both pieces. Okay, so at any rate, I went ahead and cut this in half, and then so you can see how our cool awning starts to look, right? And then what I did was I took our Fast to Fab pages and I adhered them down to my black pages. All right, so my Fast to Fab page just goes straight down on top of the black page. And when I do that, I make sure that this center edge is right along the jeeping and the bottom edge of the paper is right along the edge of my page. And then it's very easy to just smooth out the other edges. Everything lays down just very easily that way. All right, so then we take our border and add some adhesive to the back, and it looks like I need to just re-add it in a couple places. I actually lifted it off of my page so that I could show you because you didn't get to see this part. So I went ahead and adhered this across the top. So my paper under there is a little bit torn, but that's okay because no one's going to see that because we're covering it up. No worries. All right, so we've got this going right across the edge of the top of the page. And then I added my photos. I had 6 photos of my kids from this visit. This is the same daughter, but she was just making cute faces at me across the table, so I had to take Haley's picture. And these 3 vertical photos that are over here, I did trim a 1/4 inch off of the long edge on each of these photos so that there could be a boundary around each one of them where we could see the paper that they are being mounted to. I did not trim this one because I didn't need to. It fits just right with these. Now I decided I'm going to go ahead and use this area down here as the area for my title. So when I cut my title from on my Cricut machine, it will go down here. And I'm going to journal down this area right here. I selected some embellishments, and this was about the point where I noticed that my recording was not performing the way I was hoping it would. So I got about this far and was about ready to get these put on when I noticed that I needed to back up and bring you all up to speed so that you could be with me. Okay, so I have a variety of embellishments They come from a lot of different places. So this one you'll recognize from an older Adventure Park pack. This one is from EchoPark. So it matches the paper up there really well because it's part of that same collection. These are from Sparks of Magic, I believe. I think this one's from Sparks of Magic. You know, so at this point, all of my embellishments are just all kind of mixed together at this point because of doing all of this. But just wanted to let you know that these are not all from the same collection. All right, so I'm going to grab some foam squares real quick. Some of these are already raised. So like this one already has some puffy foam squares underneath it. It came that way. And I'm not going to raise that up anymore because there's no need to do that. So I'm going to just add these other couple things. I think we'll kind of just tuck the I'm just here for the food, which is a saying that I absolutely can't stand, but we were eating, so I suppose it applies in this particular instance. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere this. This is going to go right up here. And then we are going to add this little guy. We're going to put him, kind of tuck him underneath this photo right here. And then I'm going to add this cast of characters sign, referring to my crazy cast of characters that I live with and love. We're going to add some definition to Minnie's bow. And I have to make sure I do it the right way. As we were talking when you were when I was not recording earlier, I kept putting this bow upside down, and yeah, it was really, really noticeably not right. All right, and then this little guy right here is actually going to go underneath. This little ice cream flag's going to just kind of hang out like that. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to grab a small foam square to put on the back of the wide spots of this one. This one already has a foam square on it, so I'm just going to use my repositionable adhesive and give it a little bit of a stickiness. And we'll add these together. These are just kind of little, but they're going on this larger tag, so they will accent it appropriately that way. I'm thinking maybe kind of like that. Something like that. Okay, then we'll put some adhesive on the back of this guy, and this guy's going to go right up here. And that finishes us off for this time around. What do you think? Please let me know what you think in the comments. I am really pleased. I think that the border across the top turned out just like I had envisioned, or pretty close, pretty darn near close. I really think it turned out well. Pretty cute for our piano man. Thanks so much for joining me today. Until next time, I hope you have many more creative moments. You take care now.